In this video demonstration, I'm going to show you how to use a combination of JND517 and JND519, which are the brand new frame makers with your scalloped wreath and your sea holly frame, to make this beautiful, sweet little stand-up, fully circular card. So something a little bit different, but it follows that beautiful circle pattern, and it works perfectly when framed with your squares and things like that as well. So let's see what we do and how we make this card. So to make this sort of sweet circular card, we're going to need to use both of the new dies from John Next Door. So these are kind of the new wreath sort of frame maker dies. So you've got JND519, which is the beautiful sea holly frame, which gives you the background frame plus the two sort of plain wreaths in there. So you've got one at sort of 4" and one at sort of 2". Then you've got JND517, and that one is the scalloped wreath, and that gives you the beautiful scalloped wreath again, which is an inch-long wreath, and it's at 5 inches. So we're going to use a combination of those to make this card, but to make the card blank, we're also going to use the press cut plain circle die. And the one that we're actually using is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inches. So it's a 5-inch diameter circle to start with. So I'm going to take just a normal piece of 300 GSM plain white card and just fold it in half landscape. And then you want to take your die and overhang it over the folded section by about 1/2 centimetre, let's say 1/4 inch, and just tape it down, run that through and cut that. And that will give you the perfect circular card blank. And again, it will actually rock at this point. Obviously it doesn't when it's finished because of the scallops. So obviously we don't want to have this little lip at the top, so using the same die in the soft pink from the soft pinks pack, I've cut a circle out in the pink, and all I'm going to do is to glue that on top. And if you notice, I'm just leaving a little bit there so glue doesn't come over onto that little flap. Pop it on, and there you have a perfect circle that actually has and will stand up just like a card blank. So now we want to start with actually making our pieces. So we want to start by making our scalloped piece. So here I've got a piece again of coconut white, and I've cut this to 6 by 6. And the reason I've done that is so that I can use the resultant piece as a frame for another project. So I'm going to take from the scalloped wreath set, I've just put an extra die on there. I'm going to take the actual scalloped wreath itself, and we just pop that into the centre of that 6 by 6 piece of card, and we run that through our die cutting machine and cut that, which will give us this beautiful piece here. And as you see, that fits exactly onto our circle and gives us the beautiful frame for it. So now we want to actually cut a frame to go with that. So to do that, we're going to use the smaller wreath. As I said, this is a 1, 2, 3, 4.5 inch wreath, and the 2 inserts from the Sea Holly Frame Maker set. So again, taking a piece of coconut white card, this time I've cut this a little bit smaller so we can use that again with the waste for another layer. We simply drop our wreath on in any orientation and pop our insert panels on and tape those down. And what I do is tend to tape them down, make sure I'm happy that it's nice and even, although it doesn't matter because the pattern is been designed to stay in the right place. And just to secure it, I always put a little bit over one of where the joins are, and we run that through our die cutting machine again and cut that, which gives us the perfect wreath with these beautiful dots all the way around the outside and the inside of the circle, and this sort of crazy daisy pattern. So taking a piece of pink, we simply want to cut using the die on its own without the inserts to give us the perfect backer for it. So that's been cut. Again, we get those dots. It's beautiful, this, for making just a plain simple wreath. Really decorate and show your flowers. So I'm using a little bit of spray glue and just attaching those two together. And it fits exactly. Making this out of circles is virtually impossible. But you can see there, That just fits on and gives it almost like a shaker card, a sort of like a shaker style rather than a sort of shaker card. So now we want to work for the middle. So I'm going to swap back in now to the scalloped wreath maker die set, and I'm going to use the larger scalloped circle which matches that scallop, and all we're going to do is to cut that again from a scrap of white card. This will come from the bottom of one of the pieces made to cut that, and we get that beautiful scalloped piece there. And then I want to take a piece of white, and I want to show you this. I want to cut the next dies in the set, and the next die are a plain circle and a dotted circle. So we keep all of those dots working. It also means that you can use those dots just cut into the card to give you beautiful dotted circles in your card. There's so many options to do with this. So to do this, we take a long piece of tape and stick it onto our fingers, which allows us to hover over and use our thumbs to pick up the circle. We can then put that together like that and put that on and cut it. So we would just run that through our die cutting machine again and cut it. And then I want to swap into the Sea Holly frame set again, and I want to take out this beautiful little daisy pattern. And this has been designed so it fits exactly on the inside of that circle. So these two sets were designed together at the same time to give you the combinations that you can use them on their own singularly, or you can work them together to make you lots of different colours and patterns. So I want to show how this one works, as this is a punch die. So we just pop that into our die cutting machine and we just run that through. I always do forward and back, just so that I get that double cut just in case. And when I take that one off my plates, you'll see that what happens is the pattern is punched through, but it may not get rid of all of the bits. So I take a pair of scissors and just scrape over the back, just to make sure all the bits are missing, because there's no space to poke out. You want them to be, it's a kind of a punch, it's a sharp punch area. So we'll take that one off, and you'll see there we have that perfect pattern punched all the way in. So nice and simple, but it shows the three different ways, because of course we could just do that again with that circle on a card in the middle of a square. There's so many different combinations with this one. It's really worth having a look at the boards that we produce for them. So all I want to do now is to stamp a sentiment in the middle. So I've got a sentiment from the latest 2J stamps, and I'm using our precision press and lining it up. And because there is no black in this card, I'm going to use grey. So I'm just using smoky grey from Versafine, but you could use London Fog. They're from Archival. There are lots of different sort of very simple grey inks, and we stamp our sentiment on. You can never untie the knot of true friendship. And as a final piece, using the plain circle, I've simply cut out a perfect circle to go behind. So nice and simple and easy to put together. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. So taking the stamp section, I'm adding glue in the middle. I don't want any glue to go around where the sort of holes are. We put that on, and it gives you just a soft, subtle pink behind, just like that. And then we need to start putting these together. So I'm going to start with the wreath. And what I want to do is, normally I'd use foam tape, but this time I want to show you how we can do using the 3D glue gel. So I'm taking the glue gel and a cocktail stick, and I'm just going to add some little blobs around, sort of going every quarter hour. I think that would make sense if we talked about a clock face. And checking our top, simply going to pop that on and press down. I'm then going to do the same with the smaller wreath. So again, So we'll say 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock. No, not very good at this. We're working round the clock is the best way to say it. And it's an easier way to do it perhaps than trying to. If you don't have foam tape that turns corners, then the 3D glue gel works perfectly for you. And just make sure I put that on exactly, gives me time to maneuver it around just like that. And again, I'm going to open the card this time. Once I'm happy that I've got it even, I'm going to take my scissors and I'm just going to take about 1/4 of an inch off the bottom. And the reason I do that is that will then stand flat. And by taking that off, that's how we make it stand flat. So then we have our centre. So again, using the 3D glue gel, I'm going to add my centre panel on to my scalloped area. So we've got a beautiful white on white. And I'm going to do exactly the same with the scallop section. And because we put the pink behind, the pink will show through those scallops and really work. So again, open your card out, check that you have it straight. And we drop that nice and simply into the centre. And the reason I use the tape is so that on a circular card, I can just move it round and get it completely right. And then it's simply a case of decorating your finished project. Now, I've made some of the beautiful new sea holly flowers in the same pink and the soft lilac. And I've got some of our stitched vines cut here, just in one of the greens from the Summer Greens colour package. So I'm just going to take a little bit of our normal PVA glue on the back of each one of those. So I've got a large and a small going left and right. And I've got, I don't know what it is at the moment. I absolutely love doing things in opposing corners. So I'm going to start with a large piece at the top and a small piece. So I'm going opposing. So in this top right hand corner, and then rotating it round to give me, there we go, the bottom corner. And to add my flowers, I've cut my sea holly and just propped up a few of the little petals. And I'm using more of the 3D glue gel, but this time in a syringe, just to add into there. So let's take 3 for one side. And I'm going to match that at the other side. So the pink in the middle, a lilac to one side, another lilac to the other side, and then I'm going to add some of the smaller ones of those flowers on. And to do that, I'm just going to use a little bit of glue glaze, and I'm just going to pop a flower on that little rim, either side of the sentiment. And these ones I've just added a little pearl in the centre. So one of each colour, either side. And there we have a beautiful, simple, but really effective circular card that stands up, made using a combination of JND517 and JND519. And we've added in the new sea holly to that. And here's a different version made by Leslie, just using a different mix of colours. But beautiful cards, really simple and easy to make because the dies do all the work for you. For more ideas, hints, tips and inspiration, why not visit us on Facebook or YouTube?